When you look at the crowds today, you have maybe 5,000-6,000 people here. On the streets yesterday, 1 million people, 1 million Iranians in the street for the Ayatollah Khomeini. Does that not give you concern? Does that not make you afraid?
Because they are afraid, yeah, that's right. And most of the people don't say anything because they are afraid. And they are in silence, you know, they don't say anything.
Is this the silent majority of Iran out here now?
Yes, that's right.
Do you want the Shah to return?
Yes, Shah, return to the country.
What about you, Shah? Why do you want the Shah? Why does she want the
Shah?
ما شاه میخوام ما بیچاره این
شادی کشتنش حلاله کجای قرآن گفته.
"47 years we've been bleeding in the dark, under the shadow of the Islamic regime, with a stone-cold heart. They silenced our voices, they turned off our light. 58 days without internet, but we still fought the night. Our children took the streets, they raised their empty hands, and the world looked away. Do you understand? Do you know Europe? Do you know what's been done? Do you know Europe? 42,000 souls are gone, killed in 2 days by a regime drenched in blood. Do you know Europe? Or have that's all it took. Mothers and fathers and sons, did you even look? We stand with Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, our hope and voice. Millions behind him marching, he is our only choice. He only fights for freedom, democracy and human rights. But you mock him in your chambers while he fights for our lives, to pull us out of this darkness, this century-long night, while you sign deals with our killers and call it diplomatic right. Do you know Europe? Do you know what's been done? Do you know Europe? They hang 60-40 souls one by one, hanged within 4 months by a regime drenched in blood. Do you know Europe? Or have you just given up? Do you know Europe? Do you feel anything at all? Or did something break inside you while Iran answered the call? Do you know Europe? What happened to you, Europe? What made you so cold? What turned your heart to stone while our story went untold? Is oil worth more than blood? Is silence worth the shame? Because while you negotiate with murderers, we are dying, calling your name. Do you know Europe? Do you know what's been done? Do you know Europe? 42,000 souls are gone, killed in 2 days by a regime drenched in blood. Do you know Europe? Or have you just given up? Do you know Europe? We are still here, we are still strong. Do you know Europe? How much longer? How much longer? How long? Do you know Europe?
To all of our friends around the world, under the yoke of the Islamic Republic, Iran is identified in your minds with terrorism, extremism, and poverty. The real Iran is a different Iran, a beautiful, peace-loving, and flourishing Iran. It is the Iran that existed before the Islamic Republic, and it is the Iran that will rise again from its ashes the day the Islamic Republic falls. So let me be clear about how a free Iran will act towards its neighbors and the world after the fall of this regime. In security and foreign policy, Iran's nuclear military program will end. Support for terrorist groups will cease immediately. A free Iran will work with regional and global partners to confront terrorism, organized crime, drug trafficking, and extremist Islamism. Iran will act as a friend and a stabilizing force in the region, and it will be a responsible partner in global security. In diplomacy, relations with the United States will be normalized, and our friendship with America and her people will be restored. The State of Israel will be recognized immediately. We will pursue the expansion of the Abraham Accords into the Cyrus Accords, bringing together a free Iran, Israel, and the Arab world. A new chapter will begin, grounded in mutual recognition, sovereignty, and national interest. In energy, Iran holds some of the largest oil and gas reserves in the world. A free Iran will become a reliable energy supplier to the free world. Policymaking will be transparent. Iran's actions will be responsible. Prices will be predictable. In transparency and governance, Iran will adopt and enforce international standards. Money laundering will be confronted. Organized corruption will be dismantled. Public institutions will answer to the people. In the economy, Iran is one of the world's last great untapped markets. Our population is educated, modern, with a diaspora that connects it to the four corners of the world. A democratic Iran will open its economy to trade, investment, and innovation, and Iran will seek to invest in the world. Opportunity will replace isolation. This is not an abstract vision. It is a practical one, grounded in national interest, stability, and cooperation. To achieve this, now is the time to stand with the Iranian people. The fall of the Islamic Republic and the establishment of a secular, democratic government in Iran will not only restore dignity to my people, it will benefit the region and the world. A free Iran will be a force for peace, for prosperity, and for partnership.
Tanam,
Look at us here today. We see so many flags representing so many nations. We know we are not alone, and we thank you for being with us. For all people around the world who stand today in unity with the Iranian people, this is not just because it's good for us, and you do it out of compassion and care for our rights to liberty and justice and equality and human rights. But understand that it is in your best interest too, to have, unlike this regime that has been propagating terror and radicalism, we the people of Iran are peacemakers and not warmongers. We like to be friends, especially with the free worlds. We'd like to be able to have the best neighborly relationship with the people of our area and the region, with the Arab countries, with Israel, and all our other neighbors. We are fighting for justice, we're fighting for human rights, we are fighting for liberty, we're fighting to put an end to all sorts of discrimination. Because as an Iranian, I stand here to tell you that I've dedicated 47 years of my life because I think that my country deserves far better than what we have right now. Now understand that their best remedy is to support the people of Iran, because ultimately a free Iran will be your best partner, not just to bring stability and peace, but it will be in your best economic interest and opportunities. Together we can prosper again, and the world will be so different once the Iranian people are free. I am here to guarantee a transition to secular democratic future. I am committed to be that leader of transition for you, so we can one day have the final opportunity to decide the fate of our country through a democratic, transparent process, through the ballot box and free elections. And let's make sure that this time, especially the free nations of this world and their governments, stand on the right side of history.
Well, Durud Patriots, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to day 213 of Iran Revolution Live. It started a little bit late today, and I do want to apologize. Guys, I had 3 back-to-back interviews today. And it was all on the topic of Iran, of course. So I had my first interview was with Chanel Rion from One America News. I believe that's going to go live later tonight. And then, guys, then I had an interview on Newsmax, and I had the most amazing panelist join me. The most amazing panelist joined me. I was so thrilled. Actually, you know what? Let me give you guys a sneak peek of who the other panelist was. Oh my gosh, Justin already got it. There you go. Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, guys, it was so amazing being on. Oh my gosh, you guys saw me earlier on Newsmax. There you go. So yeah, I was with Armin, and it was just such an amazing panel because of course, Armin and I are very good friends, and I have nothing but love and support for Armin. And it was just so nice to be on a panel together. So if you guys haven't seen that, I don't know, maybe I will play that later. But there is a lot of news to go through. So that was my second interview. And then after that, I had another interview with a Canadian radio station as well. So there you go. It was a little bit of a busy day. And then, of course, 2C just went live. And, I always have time for 2C. But we are here now. And, guys, I will be doing both live streams. So I'm going to be doing Iran Revolution live. And then literally half an hour later, I'm going to dive right into the Goldie Show for the geopolitical analysis, because all of the interviews that I gave today was essentially about what's happening right now, in my geopolitical analysis of everything that is going on. As always, guys, let me know where you're tuning in from, if you're watching the live stream, or if you're watching the video afterwards, let me know in the video description below. Always interested to know how big our global community of patriots is. So I'm going to get started because there is a lot of stuff going on. I do have a, you know what? I actually have a little bit of a summary. Why don't I go through this quick summary, and then after I'm done reading this quick summary, then I'll get into some of the videos and some of the posts from His Royal Highness Reza Pahlavi, as well as others. So there have been reports of renewed internet disruptions in occupied Iran. So internet disruptions and slowdowns have intensified again across various parts of occupied Iran, and connection quality has yet to return to pre-shutdown levels. According to Cloudflare data, Iran's internet traffic remains at approximately 59% of pre-shutdown levels. With respect to the U.S. military, the new U.S. military logistical transport line and the operation code MOOSE, M-O-O-S-E, show that in the next war, the United States, as the finisher, is placing particular reliance on its base in Cairo, which will serve as an operations support center, both because of its proximity to the region and because it is farther away than the other countries in the Persian Gulf. So, guys, let's keep the U.S. base in Cairo in mind for upcoming potential boom booms. We also know that 4 C-130 Super Hercules aircraft are coming from the United States to Britain, and 1 CM-5 Super Galaxy is coming directly from the United States to the Middle East. We also have some updates from CENTCOM, but guys, I will leave the CENTCOM updates for later. I just want to focus really more on the current. Where are my notes here? There we go. I just really want to focus more on Iran, but I have notes and updates from CENTCOM as well. Now, I want to get to, now Mark Levin spoke a little bit about Iran. I'm going to share his video, absolutely, because I have all the time in the world for Mark Levin. the Islamic regime on their side, right? So Araqchi, remember, Araqchi is the foreign affairs minister, okay? Now, keep in mind, today is the end of the 60-day MOU, okay? Now, what's really interesting is when this whole MOU process started, there were a lot of people who were saying, oh, it's over. The United States has surrendered. Israel is giving up. The Islamic regime has won, blah, 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 blah. And yet I don't see any signs of peace. I don't see any signs of a treaty. In fact, the Islamic regime is escalating against the United States. And of course, today, there's, the breaking news is that the Islamic regime is talking about, or the Islamic regime has put out this announcement of how any, Iranian who murders an American soldier, they will be rewarded 30,000 American dollars. If an Iranian woman murders an American soldier, they'll be rewarded 60,000 American dollars. Now, I will have more to say on this on the Goldie show, which I'll be streaming later tonight. But I just want to bring this up because when it comes to the Iran angle of it, and again, Iran Revolution Live focuses specifically on Iran and the Iranian people. So guys, the reason that the Islamic regime is putting this out there is twofold. Okay, so the first reason is that by putting this out, okay, even though there's no US boots on the ground, and I actually spoke about this on my radio interview earlier today. I will share that with you guys so you guys can listen in and see what I spoke about. But what's interesting about this is that by the Islamic regime putting this out there, they're essentially turning every single civilian into a militant, right? Because now, with this potential, reward, the Islamic regime is endangering the lives of civilians. Now, of course, Iranian civilians know much better than to get involved. But this is why, for Iranians, it's very important to. There currently are there's no Americans in occupied Iran right now, but this is why it's important to stay away, because the Islamic regime is essentially using this as a tactic to turn regular civilians into potential military targets, and that is a war crime, right? So the exact same way that the Islamic regime uses schools for military purposes, uses hospitals for military purposes, uses sports stadiums and residential areas, and even mosques for military purposes. They've now essentially turned every single Iranian civilian into a potential combatant, and this is a war crime. So, and I spoke about this on my radio interview. And because the Ben Mulroney, who was the host, great guy, by the way. I have all the time in the world for Ben Mulroney. His father, by the way, if you're wondering why his last name sounds familiar, yes, he is the son of former Prime Minister Mulroney, and he was fantastic. In fact, I actually think Mulroney was prime minister when my parents immigrated to Canada. I think it was him. Let me pull it up here. Let's see. I'm pretty sure Brian Mulroney was prime minister of Canada. Yes. No, it wasn't him. Yes, no, he was. Okay, sorry. Leader of the opposition. Leader of the Progressive Conservative Party. Yes, so Brian Mulroney was prime minister. No, he wasn't. Sorry. Wait, I'm confused here, guys. Okay. 1984. Yes. Okay, Brian. Yes. Okay, guys. No. Brian Mulroney. Sorry, guys. My brain is so focused on Iran history that I've kind of forgotten. I had a little brain lapse there, but so Ben Mulroney's father, Brian Mulroney, was the Prime Minister of Canada when my parents immigrated to Canada when they were seeking refuge from the Islamic regime. and they came to Canada in 1986 as landed immigrants. So there you go, 6 degrees of separation. So yeah, Brian Mulroney, fantastic prime minister, and I have all the time in the world for Ben Mulroney and the Mulroney family in general. Very, very highly respected family, and they do great work for Canada. So I will share that interview in a little bit. So, but I did speak about this fact, right? So this, and this is what's making the news right now, is this bounty, this so-called bounty that the Islamic regime is putting out, and how they've effectively turned every single Iranian civilian into a potential military combatant, especially Iranian women, because as part of this so-called reward, the Muslim Nazis are saying that if an Iranian woman manages to murder an American soldier, their reward is doubled. So an Iranian woman wouldn't get 30,000, they would get 60,000. Now, why are they doing this? Why are they saying this? Here's the important part. So, I mean, the Islamic regime is preparing for the possibility of a potential ground invasion. Now, I actually don't see a ground invasion, happening the same way that let's say like Afghanistan or Iraq, for example. I don't see that because there is one fundamental difference between what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan versus occupied Iran. And the difference is that the Iranian people themselves are the boots on the ground. Now, keep in mind, President Trump did try to send arms. You know what? Why don't I just play this interview? Because everything that I'm speaking about right now, this is pretty much what I spoke about with Ben Mulroney. This is my third interview. So you know what? Let me just bring it up, because that way you guys can get the full conversation. And that's sort of like we spoke about a lot of things, and it is definitely Iran focused. So let me just pull it up. Might as well. It was a pretty good interview. Okay.
These cases, Castle.
All right, let me get to. Okay, I think it's here.
What's going to happen? The Strait of U.S. Iran. Today actually marked.
So this was a radio interview, but I called in, and it was just like a video link, because the video link, it just gives like a better quality for radio, like better audio quality than just like calling it on a phone or something. So this is my third interview. I had two others, but this was my third one.
Hey, Goldie.
Hi.
Of a 60-day window. Much for joining us on this Monday. Today actually marks the end, the expiration of a 60-day window following a U.S.-Iran memorandum of understanding in the hopes of getting a peace accord in that war. That did not happen. And so it's up for grabs. We don't really know what's going to happen. The Strait of Hormuz is still firmly in control of Iran. And so, yeah, we're sort of living in this stasis, waiting for the axe to fall that hangs over over oil prices and also over the lives of so many innocent people inside Iran who are held against their will by a terrorist regime. So to talk about this and a number of other stories.
And I also just want to point out, I really, really appreciate the fact that, people like Ben Mulroney and others, they're starting to recognize and understand that Iran is occupied by an Islamic dictatorship, right? So, guys, a year ago, like we would have never heard something like this. We would have, a year ago, I would have never even dared to imagine that, I would go on mainstream media or like a radio station and, non-Iranians would acknowledge the fact that Iran is occupied and Iranian people are being held hostage. And So, I'm very grateful for, what Ben Mulroney said here. And I'm very grateful to all reporters and, all of you who are helping to share the truth, because this is like what Ben Mulroney just said here. This is something that we have been fighting for the last 47 years, to let the world know, right? Like, we have been trying to tell the world, like, we're not your enemy. We're being held hostage. We're being murdered. We're being tortured. We're being raped. We're being used as human shields by this occupying, invading force. So the fact that, now this is starting to, like, this narrative is coming out in the media, it's very inspiring, and stuff like this keeps me motivated to keep on talking and keep on sharing the truth, because this is a truth that the Islamic regime does not want the world to know, right? Like, they want all of you to think that we Iranians hate you. They want you to think that we're all just a bunch of Allahu Akbar jihad people, right? And we're not. So, like, I'm just very, very grateful to Ben Mulroney for saying this.
Hormuz is still firmly in control of Iran. And so, yeah, we're sort of living in this stasis, waiting for the axe to fall that hangs over over oil prices and also over the lives of so many innocent people inside Iran who are held against their will by a terrorist regime. So to talk about this and a number of other stories, we're joined by Goldie Ghamari, human rights activist, former Ontario politician, and somebody who knows the lay of the land in that part of the world very well. Goldie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on, Ben. Great to be here.
Okay, before we start on that, how are you? Because in March, there was a $250,000 bounty that was put on your head, and I'm wondering how you are and how life is for you on a day-to-day basis.
I'm doing okay, all things considered. Obviously, I have to be very careful about my surroundings, because when the Islamic regime places a bounty on someone's head, that's pretty much for life. Just look at Salman Rushdie. The fatwa was placed against him in the 1980s, and yet he was attacked, I think, in 2022, I believe. So I have to be more careful, obviously, with respect to where I go and my location and, whether I'm secure or not. But I do have to say I am a little bit insulted, because I'm worth way more than $250,000. So, the bounty should have been at least $1 million. But
yeah,
it is
a cool million.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What do you make of the expiration of this 60-day memorandum of understanding?
I knew it wasn't going to lead to anything in the first place. Those of us who have been monitoring and studying the Islamic regime for a very long time, we understand the nature of this authoritarian dictatorship. This is essentially a barbaric, savage 7th century death cult, and it was created back in 1979 on this core foundational pillar of jihad with the West. And essentially what that means is destroying the United States, destroying Canada, destroying Israel. So I knew this wasn't going to get anywhere. If anything, the Islamic regime is now using this time period during the MOU to claim a victory by saying, look, we survived. The United States has been incredibly weak. They're too scared to attack us. So that's sort of what's been happening with the MOU. But I knew it wasn't going to lead to any peace deal.
Yeah, I want to go on record that I was very much in favor of this this war going forward. And once it happened, I wasn't cheering it on, say go go go. But once it started, I said good, because we best to rid the world of evil wherever you can find it. But I did so believing that the CIA would have done what the CIA has done forever, which would have been to train Iranian militants secretly and clandestinely, and have caches of arms hidden all over the country, so that when ultimately it came time for a popular uprising, it would have teeth. And I saw no evidence of that, and I was shocked that part hadn't been thought out.
Well, President Trump did say back in March, I believe that March or April, that they had tried to send arms to the Iranian people, but they had done so through the Kurdish militia groups in Iraq, which is a huge mistake because the Kurdish militia groups in Iraq, they're actually anti-imperialist as well, and those Kurdish militia groups are founded within the ideology of communism. So a lot of people, when they think of the Kurds, they think of like just one monolithic sort of group, and that's not the case at all. I mean, Iranians, there are numerous Iranian Kurds, but they are Iranian first, and they live in Iran, and they're fighting the Islamic regime just like the rest of us. So and President Trump said that happened, and he knew it was a mistake. But we don't know if right now arms are being sent or not. What I can say is that I have seen in more recent weeks some videos coming from Iranian freedom fighters who are claiming that they are armed and they are getting ready. So there may or may not be something that's happening. I don't know. But the sense that I'm getting from people inside of occupied Iran is that people are mobilizing and they're starting to get ready for something.
Well, we'll be paying very, very close attention. In the meantime, the Iranian government is offering essentially a bounty to regular Iranians, as much as the equivalent of $30,000, if they kill or capture U.S. soldiers on Iranian territory, and they'll double it if you happen to be a woman who does that. This is perplexing to say the least. First of all, there's been no ground invasion to speak of. And so I don't know. I mean, are they girding for an invasion? But secondly, this flies in the face of the fundamental rules of war. According to the First and Third Geneva Convention, this is against every convention of war. So what do you make of this?
I mean, this is exactly how the Islamic regime operates. I mean, you can't expect much from an Islamic dictatorship that back on January 8 and 9 mass slaughtered over 54,000 innocent unarmed Iranians in 2 nights alone just because they were peacefully protesting for freedom, right? This is what you can expect of an Islamic occupation that is murdering and hanging Iranians every day for the crime of muharebe. Muharebe means waging war against Allah. So essentially any Iranian who speaks out against the Islamic regime and wants to live in a free, secular, democratic society, just like what we have in Canada, that's considered a crime under Sharia law, and they're executed for that. And these public executions are happening every day. So I'm obviously not surprised by the Islamic regime saying this, but I also think that this is more of just like a show of force. They're trying to pretend like they're strong. They're trying to convey this image of, Iranians support the Islamic occupation, which is not true at all. But when it comes to guys, I just have to say, so I always stumble a little bit more when I'm speaking on Canadian media than when I'm speaking on American news channels, just because Canadians, I don't think like the vast majority of Canadians have woken up yet to the dangers of the Islamic regime and the infiltration. So that's why I always stumble a little bit more when I'm on Canadian news channels, because it's just like it's a different game, right? Like it's a different audience, and so you kind of have to speak to that audience. But this is why, like, I'm a little bit more mild, let's say, as opposed to when I'm doing interviews on American news networks. I don't hold back. I literally don't hold back on American news networks. But Canada, it's still a little bit different. To what you said about the law of armed conflict, obviously they're going to breach all of these rules because they just don't care about these sorts of conventions. This is not a normal, regular country.
Yeah, but the problem with this, Goldie, for them, is that these rules exist for a reason, and that reason is to protect civilians against any sort of protect them against being attacked, against being bombed. If the government effectively deputizes every civilian into the army and says, "We give you permission to behave like soldiers," and in this case, they would be viewed as unprivileged combatants. That's according to the Geneva Convention. You expose them to direct attacks from the enemy. You're essentially giving license to the U.S., should they ever enter, to view every single Iranian civilian as a potential threat.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You're 100% right. And, you know, I think the challenge that you have, Ben, is that you're approaching this from a logical perspective. And so like, when I say someone is, you know, and this is true, guys. So this is true not just for Ben, but for a lot of people, because a lot of people who aren't familiar with the Islamic regime, right? I mean, they just assume that everyone is a normal, rational, logical person who will abide by the laws and the rules and the conventions and stuff, right? But that's literally not the case at all. And this is the challenge that a lot of people have, is because they will just automatically assume that everyone thinks like them, but that's not the case at all, right? So when it comes to the Islamic regime, they are not normal, they are not rational, they are not logical. So like when I, you know, and this challenge, right? This isn't because someone is, let's say, ignorant or something. No, it's not that at all. The reason that a lot of people struggle with understanding the Islamic regime and how they operate is because they assume that the Islamic regime is like them, right? They assume that the Durkas are normal people, but they're not. They're literally part of this evil Islamic death cult that goes, right? Death to America, death to Canada, all that stuff. So that's what I'm trying to convey here. And, you know, guys, unless and until people understand that the Islamic regime is not a normal thing, right? Like the Durkas that are controlling, or, you know, within the Islamic regime, they're not normal people. They're not rational. They're not logical. They don't abide by the rules. They literally make their own rules. I mean, they've been committing so many war crimes. They've engaged in crimes against humanity. Keep in mind, this is the same Islamic dictatorship that sentenced an Iranian medical student to death for the crime of muharebe. And muharebe means waging war against Allah. Now, what was this Iranian medical student's crime? Well, his crime was that he provided first aid to injured protesters. So because this, 26-year-old Iranian medical student provided first aid to injured people, he's now been sentenced to death because, according to Islam and Sharia law, providing first aid is an insult to Islam, and that means you're waging war against Allah, and that gives them the right to execute you. So again, these are not normal, rational, logical people. They don't abide by the rules, right? Listen, they will rely on the rules when it's to their advantage. Of course, 100%. Like, they will constantly make posts on social media, or they'll issue statements like, blah, 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 breach of this, breach of that, right? Literally, their very existence, guys, the very existence of the Islamic regime in and of itself is a breach of every single convention out there. So I just want to point that out. So, but this is the challenge that a lot of people have, because a lot of people, they try to approach the Islamic regime from a perspective of like a logical, rational person. And, I would say like 99% of the time, that's the case. 99% of the time, that's how you want to think about someone else. But when it comes to the Islamic regime, right, they're Durkas, and the Durkas, they're not normal people. So
they would be viewed as unprivileged combatants. That's according to the Geneva Convention. You expose them to direct attacks from the enemy. You're essentially giving license to the U.S., should they ever enter, to view every single Iranian civilian as a potential threat.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You're 100% right. And, I think the challenge that you have, Ben, is that you're approaching this from a logical perspective, and you're assuming the Islamic regime is a logical, rational, reasonable entity, but they're not. They're literally a 7th century Islamic dictatorship. They operate within their own rules, and this is an Islamic regime that has also been using Iranians as human shields. We have documented evidence of them using schools and mosques and hospitals and residential areas as military bases. So they have no problem.
Didn't they use kids to clear landmines during the Iran-Iraq war?
Yep. So you know what? I was so happy when Ben pulled this up, because guys, I've spoken about this before, but look at this, guys. I was so happy when Ben brought this up. Honestly, it was like a pleasant surprise. I didn't actually. I would not have expected. I would not have expected Ben Mulroney to know that. However, that lets me know that Ben has certainly done his homework. So here's an image. Let me just pull this up really quick for you guys. So here's an image of Iranian child soldiers during the Iran-Iraq war. So no. Ben Mulroney is very, very informed, very educated, guys. This isn't a thing. This isn't a thing. I just didn't expect him to know that level of detail, because again, I'm telling you, this interview, this was it was a pleasant surprise for me. Let's put it that way. This interview was a pleasant surprise, because most of the times, if I'm on a mainstream, media outlet, or if I'm speaking about how the Islamic regime used child soldiers in the 1980s, I'm called a liar, or people are like, I don't believe that. I've never heard of that. That can't be true because I don't know about it. But the fact that, in this interview, Ben Mulroney himself brought up the fact that the Islamic regime used child soldiers in the 1980s, to me, that so many bonus points there, right? So, and this is why I have all the time in the world for Ben and his radio show. Always happy to go on, because this is a thing. The Islamic regime used child soldiers. Now, guys, let me tell you why the Islamic regime used child soldiers. And this is a story. This is from first-hand witness accounts. Okay, because again, if we go to, let me just pull up the map of Iran. Okay, so let me pull this up so I can give you guys a bit more context here. So here we go. This is a pretty good high quality image. Okay, so this is Iran. Remember, Iran is the kitty cat. Oh, and let me get rid of the banner for a moment. I'll bring that back in a moment. But this is Iran, okay? So this is the kitty cat, and so this right here, this is Iraq. Why is my mouse? Okay, there we go. This is Iraq, and this is Khuzestan up here. Okay, so down here, this is Khuzestan. Khuzestan is, of course, one of the southern provinces. One of the provinces that has been, where the IRGC bases have been heavily hit. I've spoken about this both on Iran Revolution Live. Wait, what's going on here? All right, I've spoken about this both on Iran Revolution Live and also on the Goldie show. But so Khuzestan is the province where I'm from. Okay, so during the Iran-Iraq war, Khuzestan, as you can see, has a border with Iraq. So Khuzestan was heavily attacked by the Iraqi army. And what the Iraqi army did is they put a lot of landmines in the area. Okay, so They put in a lot of landmines in order, so that when Iranian tanks would try to get to the border, the landmines would blow up the tanks. Okay. So initially, what the Islamic regime did is, in order to detonate the landmines before their tanks would go over, they initially first tried to send donkeys. So the Islamic regime tried to send, guys, this is a real story. Okay, this is a real story. This has been told to me by first-hand witnesses, people who literally were in Khuzestan, okay, during the Iran-Iraq War. And again, I'm from Khuzestan. The vast majority of my family is from Khuzestan. My family, my extended family, pretty much everyone, various parts of Khuzestan, whether it's Ahvaz or Shushtad or Shush, which is known as Susa, Abadan, like all these places, right? So remember, Khuzestan is basically ancient Elam. So my family lineage and history goes back thousands and thousands of years to all these places. So I have extended family all over this area. Like my tribe is pretty much all over here in Elam, Lorestan, Khuzestan, and some other places as well. So firsthand eyewitness account, okay? So initially, when the Iraqis placed landmines in this area, the Islamic regime, because they didn't want their tanks to be damaged, they tried to send donkeys or mules. The donkeys and mules, however, they refused to go. The donkeys and mules refused to go into the war zone, because the Islamic regime initially was hoping that, by sending a bunch of donkeys and mules before the tanks, that the donkeys and mules would detonate the landmines, and then, the donkeys or mules would die, and then the Islamic regime could send their tanks forward, okay? However, the donkeys and mules, they sensed danger, so they refused to go. They refused to go ahead, and no matter what the Islamic regime did, the donkeys and mules refused to go forward. So the Islamic regime came up with a workaround, and the workaround was child soldiers. So this is why the Islamic regime indoctrinated child soldiers, and they forced them. They would literally take them. So oftentimes what they would do is, let's say if, young boys were in school, the Islamic regime would go in and they would go into like a classroom, and they would take all of those young boys and they would take them away. They would drag them out of their classroom, and they would take them to their camps, and they would indoctrinate them, and they would radicalize them. And again, these are like impressionable children, right? Like we're talking, I mean, like the kids here, I mean, they can't be older than, I don't know, 10 or 11, right? So 10 or 11. And the red band's there, right? So the red band, that's a jihadi thing, right? So the red band there is like some sort of like, I don't know, Allahu Akbar jihad thing. So basically what they said to the children is that you have been chosen by Allah and Islam to give your life for the cause. And then you see they're also here, you can also see that they're forcing the children to wear the Palestine jihadi terrorist scarves, right? So because of course everything is about Palestine, because again, the Islamic regime is a foreign invading, occupying force. And they're not even Iranian. A lot of them are literally from Palestine and Saudi Arabia, right? So this is why they all wear like the jihadi terrorist keffiyeh scarf. So in the 1980s, because the donkeys refused, right? Like the donkeys were smart. The donkeys and mules were smart. I mean, donkeys are smart regardless. I love donkeys. I love mules. Amazing animals, very intelligent. And very, very loyal as well. But anyway, so because the donkeys and mules refused to go and detonate the landmines, the Islamic regime would force young boys. And so this is why they used child soldiers during the Iran-Iraq War. And what they would do is that not only would they put a red headband around their heads, but they would also put like a necklace with like a key, okay? And so that key that was around their necks, that was essentially sort of like the key to heaven, right? So these children were so radicalized that they knew that they were going to go out there and they were going to die, okay? And that's why, like the Muslim Nazis, they put a key around their neck because they were like, don't worry. They were like, don't worry, guys, don't worry. You're going to go out there. You're going to detonate the landmines. You're going to give your lives for Allah, our, demon jihad God. But don't worry, because here's a key around your neck. Because when you are murdered, when you detonate the landmine and you lose your life, you're going to go to heaven and you're going to get your 72 virgins and, whatever. So there you go. So yes, absolutely. The Islamic regime has been using child soldiers for a very long time. And again, because I am from this area, I actually have lost several extended family members who were taken and used as child soldiers. Now, of course, the Iran-Iraq War, I was born in 1985. So I was literally born during the war. And those extended family members of mine who lost their lives, like I never met them, right? Because I was an infant at the time. So I never met them. I never knew them. But I know who they are. And, it's, yeah. So like everyone, like guys, anyone who's from like this area, anyone who's from the, like the western part of Iran, whether it's from like all the way from the north to the south, anyone from the western part of Iran, because this is Iraq right here, right? So this is Iraq right here. All of us have lost family members, and that includes me. Now, of course, again, I was born in 1985, so I didn't know my extended family members personally, but that story has been recounted to me several times by my family members, and it's horrifying, right? It's absolutely horrifying. And even to this day, right? Like the mothers of these children who were murdered by the Islamic regime, even though it happened 40 some odd years ago, they've never recovered, right? They've never recovered. So I want you guys to think about that, right? So during the Iran-Iraq War, the Islamic regime murdered Iranian children to make sure that their tanks survived. 40 years later, the mothers from back then haven't gotten over it. The mothers from back then haven't gotten over it. Think about how many hundreds of thousands of Iranian mothers are out there right now who are mourning the loss of their children. The Islamic regime has been murdering children since its very inception. So I just want to point that out. But anyway, that's pretty much the story of why the Islamic regime used child soldiers. It was because the donkeys and mules didn't want to go forward. Now, honestly, guys, I don't know if you're going to find like what I explained to you. I don't know if you're going to find this in any sort of like official news story or media outlet or whatever. I don't know, because honestly, like when it comes to mainstream media, half of them don't know the truth, or why things happen. But what I'm telling you right now, this is literally firsthand account. And I'm saying this because this is, again, like firsthand account from people who lived there, who lost their children. And again, it was because the Islamic regime tried to use mules and donkeys to detonate the landmines before their tanks went over. It didn't work, so then they indoctrinated children. And then ever since then, the Islamic regime has been using Iranian children as human shields. And that behavior has continued, right? Because these are evil, savage 7th century barbarians. And so even today, they're still using children as human shields, whether it's schools or hospitals or whatever the case might be, right? So there's a little backstory, but I digress. Let me go back. Absolutely, they did. In fact, let me go back to the interview. So now you guys, right? So this is where now you have the backstory of the child soldier situation in occupied Iran. They operate within their own rules. And, this is an Islamic regime that has also been using Iranians as human shields. We have documented evidence of them using schools and mosques and hospitals and residential areas as military bases. So they have no problem.
Didn't they use kids? Didn't they use kids to clear landmines during the Iran-Iraq war?
Yes, absolutely, they did. In fact, I lost a number of extended family members back in the 1980s because they were dragged away, and they were used as to detonate the landmines so that the tanks wouldn't be destroyed. So yeah, this is absolutely what the Islamic regime does, and they don't care about human lives. Yeah. They don't care about the lives of Iranians. Again, this is a regime that has been murdering us for the last 47 years. So this is just another tactic for them.
All right, well, we're going to hold on to our guest for one more segment because this story is too big to let go of in just one. We're going to continue to unpack this major headline when we come back with Goldie Ghamari right here on the Ben Mulroney Show.
So guys, that's actually a big deal because usually when it comes to radio segments, right, you have like one, 5-minute or 6-minute segment, and then, that's it. Thank you. And then they go to commercial break, and then, they go to the next topic. So very rarely do people usually get like 2 segments, because in radio shows like this, it's very fast, right? It's all about like the breaking news and various subjects. So it is a big deal to be there for 2 segments. But I just want to say, the really funny part is that when it goes to commercial, I don't hear the commercials. So I'm just awkwardly sitting there. So literally just
you get more standard features than you'd expect and great lease and finance offers you won't want to miss. Hurry into your local Subaru dealer today. Those are the Big Trouble traffic spots. I'm Richard Martin, 640 Toronto.
And then I'm just basically awkwardly sitting there until it comes back. So then I pause the video, but here we go. Now we come back. I think it's here. Nope, we're still waiting. Wait. Okay, here we go.
U.S. Well, the consequences of what comes next in the U.S. and Israeli offensive and war against Iran are myriad and far-reaching. But what that's going to be is still up in the air. And we're sticking around with Goldie Ghamari. She's a human rights activist, former Ontario politician, and she knows that part of the world intimately and personally.
I do.
And so thank you so much for sticking around with us, Goldie. If you were a betting person, what would you think is the next thing that happens? Right now, we're sort of in a stalemate. Both sides have gone back to their corners, claiming victory, but that can't hold forever.
I mean, it's really difficult to predict what's going to happen in the future, but I would say there's one of 2 possibilities. Now, we have to keep in mind that a lot of people are focusing on the kinetic action, the military strikes, but not a lot of focus is being given to the economic side of things. And Scott Bessent last week, he's the U.S. Secretary of Treasury, he announced that as of this week, they're going to impose economic sanctions on the Islamic regime, the likes of which the world has never seen before.
Wait, hold on. So they're going to...
Okay, so guys, I just want to say, so this part, guys, this is like one of those awkward situations for me because I was just like, okay, let's move on. You'll see what I mean because God, honestly, like I haven't been paying attention to what's happening between Canada, United States, and honestly, I literally don't care. But I'm just like,
They're going to take their eye off the big
on the Islamic regime, the likes of which the world has never. Yeah, so guys, I just want to say, Americans, just warning you guys. I'm just like, and I just move on. Seen before. So
wait, hold on. So I said they're gonna take their eye off the big bad evil Canadian government for a minute to actually focus on a real bad guy.
Yes, that's.
Sorry, I had to throw that in. I had to throw that in.
There you go. But yeah, so they're going to impose economic sanctions, likes of which the world has never seen. And you know, this is reminding me a lot of sort of the steps that led. By the way, the reason that I didn't comment on that is because, I mean, okay, guys, you have to remember, I am on a Canadian channel here. I'm on a Canadian channel. So, you know, I have to, anyways, but all I'm saying is Trump may not be wrong. Because the reason, honestly, guys, the reason that President Trump is acting this way towards Canada is because we have Mark Carney there, right? Mark Carney is there, and Mark Carney is literally ruining Canada, right? Remember, Mark Carney is the one who said that China is a bigger ally of Canada than the United States. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, really, China? Wait, communist? So Mark Carney is literally saying that a communist regime that sends money to the Islamic regime to murder us Iranians, right? Mark Carney is saying that a communist dictatorship is a bigger ally to Canada than the United States of America. Yeah, this is why I say that I might have to seek asylum in the United States very soon. But anyways, it was just very awkward. I'm just like, okay. Anyways, let's continue. There you go, guys. Impose economic sanctions on the Islamic regime, the likes of which the world has never seen before. So
wait, hold on. So I said they're gonna take their eye off the big bad evil Canadian government for a minute to actually focus on a real bad guy.
Yes, that's.
Sorry, I had to throw that in. I had to throw that in.
There you go. But yeah, so they're going to impose economic sanctions, likes of which the world has never seen. And you know, this is reminding me a lot of sort of the steps that led to the eventual dissolution of the USSR. Wait, sorry. I see a question here on Rumble, and I really want to answer this because this is really important. So, Goldie, do you think the Canadian people have suffered enough under Liberal policies to vote for real Conservative, or do they need more of their rights taken away for that to happen? Canadians haven't woken up yet. You know, I would say maybe like 20 to 30% of Canadians have woken up, but not enough Canadians have woken up yet to understand the threat of what's happening in Canada. So as much as I love and respect Canada, I'm a proud Canadian. Guys, like, this is the other thing, right? So in between my flag of Israel and America, I have my Canadian flag, right? Because I'm a proud Canadian. So like, I love Canada. I love all the opportunities that Canada has provided to, you know, me and my family and everyone else. Oh no, I have to like fix my thing now. Anyways, but having said all of that, the Canada today is not the Canada that my parents immigrated to, you know, 40 years ago. So yeah, like I just feel like not enough Canadians have woken up yet to the threat of socialism and leftism and you know, Islamism. And also Canadians are like, we're too polite. We're too polite, right? Like, we would rather just be polite. But anyways, so there you go. Just wanted to answer that. No, I don't think Canadians have woken up yet. I don't think so. You had There you go. But yeah, so they're going to impose economic sanctions, likes of which the world has never seen. And this is reminding me a lot of sort of the steps that led to the eventual dissolution of the USSR. You had severe economic collapse of the nation, combined with political and social unrest. Now, of course, Iran is not going to break apart into various pieces. That's not the point here, but it seems like it's following a similar sort of trajectory where the country is already a failed state. It essentially became a failed state back in 1979 when the Islamic regime took over. The Islamic regime, they're worth millions, if not billions of dollars, and yet 70% of people live below the poverty line. And if you recall, all of this initially started back on December 28 with the collapse of the rial, which led to nationwide strikes. And then within 24 hours, it led to calls for overthrow of the Islamic regime. So I see this playing out in two ways. One way is the economic pressure essentially makes the whole country sort of like the Islamic regime collapse, and then the Iranian people can take over. Or the other possibility is, of course, resuming the, I call them the boom booms, so resuming the military strikes against the Islamic regime. I hope that that happens sooner rather than later, because the only way that Iranian people can be freed is by destroying this Islamic dictatorship, because as long as they're around, they don't use their military weapons against the United States or Israel. They use them against the Iranian people themselves, and they bring in their terrorist proxy groups from across the region to murder Iranians.
But there's also the question of feeding and paying their army and their soldiers in the IRGC. I mean, if you want a dictatorship to fall, you need to decapitate their ability to pay for and feed their army. One of the reasons that Cuba survived after the fall of the Soviet Union is they replaced the funds that came directly from the USSR with tourist dollars. That money got funneled back into the Cuban military, and therefore they were able to keep the control of that country. And if there's a way for these sanctions to directly affect the regime's ability to fund and pay for and keep their army fed, that's a huge blow.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree, which is why I'm thinking it could go one of either two ways. Now, we already know that the economic situation is terrible inside of occupied Iran. Many nurses are already on strike. People in different economic sectors are on strike. They're not getting paid. It seems as if the Islamic regime is trying to keep the wages for those within the IRGC and also their terrorist proxy militia forces. But even that seems to be drying up. So, that's partly due to the U.S. naval blockade, which is preventing the Islamic regime from exporting oil, but also, of course, the economic sanctions. So, I'm very interested to see what these upcoming economic sanctions are going to look like, because I have a feeling that we're kind of getting into that sort of Reagan-esque strategy with the eventual collapse of the Islamic regime.
The difference is, even in Reagan's time, there was a huge, vast swath of the Democratic Party that could make an argument to support military action like this. Mm-hmm. But now, with the radicalization of the Democrat Party and its takeover by the Democratic Socialists of America, you've got these people who have found common cause. You've got people in America finding common cause with this regime, saying that, in fact, America is far worse than Iran and its proxies. And a lot of them have big microphones and big platforms and malleable, useful idiots that listen to them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you recall, the 1979 Islamic coup d'etat, it happened with the help of Jimmy Carter and the Democrats. If Richard Nixon had still been around, he said that he would have never supported Khomeini or the Islamic regime. In fact, Richard Nixon is one of only two dignitaries who attended the funeral of the Shah, the late Shah of Iran, when he passed away in 1980. So that's why I like to make I make a distinction between Democrats and the rest of the United States, because the Democrats will always support the Islamic regime. Because if they side with the Republicans on this, then they have to admit that what Jimmy Carter and the Democrats did back in 1979 was a fundamental mistake, and they will never own up to that, and they've become even more radicalized these days.
Yeah, and that's why I don't even think they have to go back that far. I mean, I'm sure you can make an argument as a moderate Democrat that I don't know that they necessarily have to own that, or the party can, but the people currently in it don't have to. So I wouldn't even have to look at that far. I just think that there is a virus that has swept leftists across the West that allows them to feel that they are progressive and inclusive and stand up for the rights of minorities. But when it comes to oppressed women, and when it comes to when it comes to the democratic voices coming from within Iran, those people need to shut up. Those people need to shut up, because they've never had it so good.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild that I just have to say, the fact that Ben Mulroney said like shut up on Canadian radio, guys, for Canadian radio, that's wild. Like, that is extreme. Saying the S word on Canadian radio, ooh, guys, like, that's no, Canadians are too polite for that. So I was just I really appreciated that statement from him.
Democratic voices coming from within Iran, those people need to shut up. Those people need to shut up, because they've never had it so good.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild that I call it Iran-splaining. So whenever like someone who's not from Iran tries to tell us Iranians, what are you guys talking about? Like, America's worse, blah blah blah. I'm like, please don't Iran-splain the country to me. But you're absolutely right. And so what you're seeing here is this unholy alliance of the red and the black, where you have Islamists and jihadis on one side, and then you have the communists and the socialists and the woke progressive left on the other side. And in fact, it was this same unholy alliance that destroyed Iran back in 1979, with the support of Jimmy Carter and the Democrats. And so these two groups, they are united in their anti-Western ideology, but that's pretty much where it ends. Because anyone who knows history, just look at what happened to Iran after 1979, when the Islamic regime took over. One of the first things they did is they turned around and they started. Sorry, guys, I just have to say this. So Manti, absolutely true. That was a Canadian broadcaster F-bomb. Honestly, that kind of was. That kind of was. That was like the equivalent of like a Canadian F-bomb. But this is why I have all the time in the world for Ben Mulroney. Anyone who knows history, just look at what happened to Iran after 1979, when the Islamic regime took over. One of the first things they did is they turned around and they started executing the communists, the socialists, the woke progressive, all these people. So it's absolutely wild to me that today we're seeing the exact same thing in the United States, where you have a whole bunch of like woke leftist progressive, supposedly progressive people who are so blinded by their anti-West ideology that they would actually rather support a brutal dictatorship that literally murders women for the crime of showing a strand of hair.
Yeah, well, Goldie, Ghamari, leave it to a leftist. They can always explain away why something didn't work in the past and why it needs to be tried again.
Absolutely.
It's Groundhog Day, but with people's lives hanging in the balance.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us. I love this chat. Please be safe. I'd love to talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Happy to be on here. Thank you. So, guys, what did you think of my interview? I did pretty good. But now you guys know why I started my day a little bit late today, because this was only one of 3 interviews. I had 2 other interviews as well. Of course, many of you saw my Newsmax interview with Armin. Armin was there as well. Shout out to Armin. Love for Armin. We love Armin. And then, of course, before that, I had my interview with Chanel Rion for One America News. So there you go, guys. It's been a bit of a busy day. Also, guys, I do have to say, I can't announce it yet, but I may or may not be traveling to a particular country on Thursday. I can't announce it yet for safety and security reasons, but no, it's not Israel. It's not Israel. I'm still working on my Israel trip, but I may or may not be going to a particular country. No, it's not. It's not America, guys. I love you guys, but it's not America. So I've been very, very busy. So I'm going to be potentially. No, it's not the UAE, guys. It's not a Middle Eastern country. That's all I'm saying. It's not a Middle Eastern country. Anyways, so part of a delegation, and I'm really excited to announce this, but I can't announce it until everything has been finalized. So you'll have to wait until Wednesday evening. Wednesday evening, I'm going to announce where I'm traveling. So guys, if I've been a little sort of, MIA or busy or occupied these last couple of days, it's because I've literally been scrambling behind the scenes to get everything ready. I'm actually really, really excited about this, and I can't wait. So anyways, you'll find out on Wednesday where I'm traveling to. But until then, let's continue with the news. So I want to speak a little bit more and raise awareness about the Iranian people and, our fight. And guys, was that interview with Ben Mulroney, like, was that informative? I feel like it was informative, right? Because it's not just it's one thing to just have me just speak to you and speak to the camera and not have like a back and forth conversation, but it was a really good interview. Okay, guys, I'm so happy to hear that, because it's one thing for me to just kind of like, speak to you, but it's just sort of me speaking the entire time. It's a little different when there's that conversation back and forth. And I really, really enjoyed my conversation with Ben Mulroney today. Again, all the time in the world for him, his family. The Mulroneys are very, very well respected in Canada, and they're pretty much a Canadian institution. And Brian Mulroney, one of the best Canadian prime ministers ever. So much love for Prime Minister Mulroney and his entire family. Okay, but let me get into some of the more recent breaking news about occupied Iran. So this actually ties in with what I spoke about earlier, right, in my interview with Ben Mulroney, when I said that, listen, the Islamic regime doesn't care about the Iranian people. They don't care about international conventions. They don't care about the laws of war. Not only do they use Iranians as human shields, they literally murder us every day. And so this is some sad news, but another innocent Iranian freedom fighter has been murdered by the Islamic regime. So the Islamic Republic has executed another brave, innocent young Iranian, proving once again that its 47-year war against the Iranian people continues. These state-sanctioned murders, carried out to instill public fear, only reveal the regime's terror of the upcoming wave of anger and courage from the great nation of Iran. Shahram Sadiqi will never be forgotten. Justice will be served sooner than they think. So, Shahram Sadiqi was murdered by the Islamic regime for the crime of wanting to live in a free, democratic, and secular Iran. And this is what I mean when I say, like, you can tell the difference between Iranians and Durkas, okay? Because this is what this is what an Iranian man looks like, you know, good genes, properly dressed, properly groomed, you know, like just a regular, normal Iranian. And then compare that to the Durkas, right? Compare that to, I don't know, like this feces of Satan from hell. Let me pull this up, right? Right? These are the Muslim Nazis that are currently occupying Iran. Okay? Look at the, I don't know, look at this thing, whatever this thing is, right? Like the feces of Satan from hell. Compare that to Shahram Sadeghi, right? So when I tell you that Iran is being invaded by a bunch of foreign inbred Islamic occupiers, this is what I'm referring to. These people don't even look like us, right? Like, I don't know, like what in the Allahu Akbar jihad am I looking at right now? But these Durkas, okay, so these Durkas are literally murdering young Iranian men in their prime because they're trying to basically they're trying to delete and erase the Iranian lineage, right? So remember, the way that the Arab Muslims engaged in jihad when they were taking over the Middle East is that one of the first things that the Arab Muslims did is they would murder all of the young men, and then they would rape all of the young women so that the young women would give birth to, you know, their bastard children. And this is how, like, the Arab lineage sort of expanded through the Middle East. And, you know, anyone who is Iranian is an enemy of Islam. So there you go, right? So look at the difference between Shahram Sadeghi versus, you know, these evil, you know, literally feces of Satan, right? Feces of Satan right there. Like, I don't know what hellhole this Durka jihadi terrorist came from, but these Islamic turban heads are the ones that are murdering young Iranian people every day. So, yeah. This is why, guys, this is why we say that we are never going to give up. And this is why we say that there is an ocean of blood between us Iranians and the Islamic regime, because the Islamic regime is making the fundamental mistake of assuming that if they murder Iranians, that's going to prevent us from rising up. It's the exact opposite. The more they murder innocent Iranians, the more we become determined to exterminate them. Because unless and until the Islamic regime is removed, more Iranians will be murdered. Now, I want to share this with you guys. Sorry, guys. But I want to balance the good news with the bad news as well, okay? Because yes, we Iranians, we are angry, right? We are angry that the Islamic regime is murdering our brothers and sisters, right? Like, I didn't personally know Shahram Sadeghi, but he's my brother. He's my brother. And I will never stop speaking out, and I will, not just me, but every single Iranian, we will make sure that he is avenged, and not just Shahram, but every single Iranian murdered by the Islamic regime. And guys, keep in mind, the Islamic regime, they also focus on murdering those Iranians who are like very, very Iranian. So look at the name Shahram, okay? Guys, what do you notice about his first name, Shahram? There's a word in there in his first name that you guys should recognize. And this is the difference between an Iranian name versus an Islamic Durka name. There you go. Caleb got it. Shah. There you go. Right? Shah. So Caleb got it. Let's see. Caleb, Michelle, Darren, Boxlid. Thank you, Kitty. I appreciate that. Just Chillin' got it. Lou got it. Elizabeth, Shah. There you go. Right? There you go. Right? Shah. Yeah, there you go. Shah, right? So his name literally has the word Shah in it, okay? And his name, Shahram, it means either king of peace or peaceful king, because Ram in different contexts can mean peace or tranquility or joy. So Shahram is such a beautiful name because it means the king of peace. And the Muslims murdered someone named the king of peace in the name of Allah and Islam and Muhammad and jihad. Yeah. This is the difference between Iranian culture and Islamic culture, because Iranian culture is all about good thoughts, good words, good deeds, right? And you guys have seen that that new song that I've played for you. Actually, you know what? I've been live streaming for a while, so let me take you know what? Let me take a quick break, and I will play the song in honor of Shahram, and I'll be back in 2 minutes, guys. I'll be back in 2 minutes. This one just hits hard because the Muslim Nazis occupying us, they're murdering the best and brightest of us. They're murdering the best and brightest of us. And yeah. Anyways, I'll be back. I'll be back. So yeah. Shahram Sadeghi, your name will be remembered forever as a Javidnam of Iran. And guys, I hope you appreciate and understand. When I say that the Islamic regime is a foreign occupying invader, this is what I'm talking about, because their ideology, their religion, or whatever they want to call it, it is so fundamentally opposed to Iranian ideology and culture, right? I mean, that song that I just shared with you. So good thoughts, good words, good deeds. That's the main mantra of Zoroastrianism. And that the part where they say, righteousness is the best of all goods. Happiness comes to those who are righteous for the sake of being happy. That is one of the most important parts of the Avesta, right? So pretty much like the entire Zoroastrian religion focuses around this concept of righteousness is the best of all goods. Happiness comes to those who are righteous for the sake of being righteousness. Meanwhile, we are currently occupied by a bunch of Islamic invaders that go, and anyone who just, doesn't want to live under Islamic Sharia law is murdered. And this is why they're murdering Iranians. And so going back to my interview earlier today with Ben Mulroney, right? When Ben Mulroney said, well, the Islamic regime, by turning Iranian civilians into potential military combatants, it's like a breach of international conventions. And I'm like, they don't care. They literally don't care, because they murder us every day. They have been murdering us every day for the last 47 years in the name of Allah and Islam and Muhammad and jihad, right? So they've been murdering us to worship like they're dead Arab warlords, and we are sick and tired of it. And yes, this guy, Shahram, beautiful name, right? Shah, the word Shah, right? And guys, also for anyone who's wondering why we Iranians, we want to go back to a constitutional monarchy, it's because the entire concept of kings and kingdoms and, shahs, that's an Iranian thing. The whole concept of the Shah is part of our culture. When Ferdowsi revived the Iranian language, okay? Let me pull this up. When Ferdowsi, who is the Iranian version of Shakespeare, although I would actually argue that Ferdowsi is more important and more influential than Shakespeare. And that's not because I'm putting Shakespeare down, because Shakespeare is very important, very influential. But the reason that Ferdowsi is more important and influential than Shakespeare is that when Shakespeare was writing his beautiful, plays and poems, and guys, I love Shakespeare. I'm a huge fan of Shakespeare. I had an opportunity to visit London, I don't know, like 20 years ago or something. And one of the things I did, I went to, I did a whole Shakespeare tour. So I love Shakespeare. But the reason that Ferdowsi is more important and influential than Shakespeare is because Shakespeare was never fighting against Durkas who were trying to erase the English language. Ferdowsi, on the other hand, Ferdowsi was fighting against Durkas who had banned the Iranian language for 200 years. And so for 30 years in secret, Ferdowsi wrote the epic book called Shahnameh. Shahnameh means Book of Kings. So again, look at this Iranian hero's names. Shahram. You see the word Shah in it? So when Ferdowsi, and I'll share this video in a moment, when Ferdowsi revived the Iranian language, he did so in his epic odyssey called the Shahnameh, which means the Book of Kings. Okay? So let me pull this up for you guys. What? Oh man. Okay, I want to play this video, but I already know that wait, I already know that the audio is copyrighted. So I have to mute the audio, but I will add my own audio to this. Let's see, what do I have here? Okay, here we go. I will. I don't know what this is. Wait. Where is it? Where's the one that I want? Here we go. Okay. Okay, there we go, guys. Just watch this video. So guys, this video, I just want to say this video used AI to bring 3 of the most influential Iranians in Iranian history back to life. Okay, so it's 1 minute long. Just follow along with the subtitles. Wait, let me go back to the beginning. This is Ferdowsi. Guys, this is Ferdowsi. Ferdowsi, he's the one who literally saved our language. So guys, the only reason that I today am able to speak Persian is because of Ferdowsi. Is because of what Ferdowsi did, like what, 1,000 years ago. Okay, so Ferdowsi is the precursor to Shakespeare. Okay, and guys, Ferdowsi is actually like, for anyone who is who studied literature and is like a literary major, like any literary student, or anyone who studied literature knows that Ferdowsi is considered one of the top epic writers of the human civilization. Okay, not just Iran. He is considered one of the top poets and writers of humanity. Okay, so within the entire, I don't know how many thousands of year history of humanity, Ferdowsi is at the top. You guys just don't know about him because, of course, he's not, this isn't taught, but yes. So Ferdowsi was born in 940, and, he passed away in 1020. So what was he like? What is that? So he passed away like when he was 80 years old. So guys, this is the important part. After the Muslim conquest of Persia so Ferdowsi is Iran's most influential poet and the savior of Persian language and cultural traditions. After the Muslim conquest of Persia in 632, the Arab colonizers banned Persian language and traditions. 300 years later, guys, 300 years later, Ferdowsi revived the Persian language and traditions. The Shahnameh, or the Book of Kings, is literally his greatest work. And this is Ferdowsi. So, and guys, you can see, right, he has a turban, right? But remember, the turban is not a Durka thing. Many, many people from various parts of the Middle East and, in India and elsewhere, they wear turbans. And Ferdowsi wore a turban, but this is not a Durka turban. This is a, traditional cultural turban, and it looks different from the Durka turban. So there you go. And then, of course, there's Ibn Sina. Guys, I haven't even spoken about Ibn Sina. So, and this is what's really interesting, because you know, a lot of like the Durkas, they'll be like, oh, Islam is amazing because of the Islamic golden age. And I'm like, bleh! Right? Because guys, let me tell you something. There is no such thing as the Islamic golden age. It's called the Iranian golden age because the vast majority, like 95% of the doctors and scholars and poets and whatever during the Islamic golden age were actually Iranian. And by the way, they were crypto-Zoroastrians. They were fake Muslims, right? So the reason that we Iranians have survived for so long is because when the Arab Muslims, conquered us in 650 AD, Iranians are intelligent. So we were just like, all right, whatever. Okay, Durka, whatever. We'll pretend to be your religion. And then the Arabs left them alone. And then ever since then, the Arabs have claimed that Iranians are Muslim. So there you go. But literally, like 95% of, scholars and Durkas, would Arabic numbers actually? Yes, actually, Arabic numbers came from Iran, early original Iranian script. Guys, the Arabs don't have anything. Like, and this isn't to hate on the Arabs. This is just historical fact. Nothing about Arabs is from their own. I mean, except for drinking camel piss, but that's a whole other thing I don't want to get into, right? Like eating lizards and drinking camel piss. And of course, pedophilia, right? I mean, the fact that they worship, a 50-year-old man that married a 6-year-old girl and then raped her when she was 9. I mean, that's totally an Arab thing. We don't claim that. But literally nothing about Arab culture comes from Arabs. It's basically everything that they have stolen from everyone else through violence, right? So for example, guys, this is actually another thing. So for example, when you see like the domed structures, right? So when you see like these mosques with like the domes on them, right? So let me show you what I'm talking about. So look. So whenever you see mosques that look like this is also not an Arab thing, okay? This is an Iranian thing, because this whole concept of like the domed structure with these minarets, that comes from Iranian architecture and Iranian buildings. And this is what Zoroastrian temples looked like. But then, of course, when the Arab Muslims conquered, they stole this and they were like, oh, no, this is what Islam looks like. So, guys, the only reason that many people associate, these sorts of domed structures with Islam is because the Arabs stole this from the Persians when they conquered Iran back in 640 AD. So yeah, guys, there's literally nothing about the Islamic Golden Age that belongs to Islam. The only reason that they call it the Islamic Golden Age is because, of course, they were the victors at the time, and these barbarians are so savage that anyone who doesn't bow down and worship their demon god Allah is executed, right? So for example, Shahram, right? Shahram. So what you're seeing happening in occupied Iran today, where the Muslim Nazis are murdering Iranians every single day, this is essentially how they conquered the Middle East. The only difference is that 1400 years ago, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have internet, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have the ability to call out the jihad. But the Arab Muslims have been waging jihad against the Middle East and the rest of the world for 1400 years. And anyone who thinks that the jihad stopped during the Crusades, they're wrong. Because right now, especially in the United States, you're seeing that continuation of jihad. But I digress. Let me go back to this video very quickly because, yes, guys, I literally have not spoken about Ibn Sina. But, guys, the father of early modern medicine, the Muslims will tell you that, oh, a Muslim invented early medicine. No, it wasn't a Muslim. It was an Iranian. Okay, it was an Iranian. And just like every single other Iranian who, was living under Islamic rule, we all have had to pretend to be Muslim just so that they don't go and chop our heads off, right? So here you go. But the father of early modern medicine, look him up. So this video, I'm going to go back. So I'll play the full thing. It's just 1 minute long. Now you guys have the context. So the three most influential Iranians in Iranian civilization and history. And now you guys know about Ferdowsi. And at some point, I'll speak about Ibn Sina in the future. But you guys already know who the third person is. And I'm not saying he's the third most influential because he is the first most influential. But of course, he is number 3 in this video because I am saving the best for last. Let me just play this video. There you go, guys. So of course, the number one most influential person in Persian civilization and history is, of course, Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Iranian Empire. But there you go, guys. So just a little bit of knowledge and input and insight for you. So now, let me go to this video because I really do want to share this with you guys. So, in the northern province of Mazandaran, resistance networks known as the Immortal Guard, Garde Javidan. Guys, the name Garde Javidan, that goes back to Cyrus the Great. So, every single, head of state has their own elite team, elite force of people, who provide protection for the head of state. So, wait, what's it called? So, for example, I just wanted to confirm this, guys. I know what it was called, but I just want to confirm. But so you know how like the United States Secret Service is responsible for protecting the president of the United States and providing like security detail and all that kind of stuff. So 2,500 years ago, Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Persian Empire, he had his own version of the Secret Service, and it was called the Garde Javidan, the Immortal Guard. Okay, so the reason that Iranian resistance fighters today are referred to as the Garde Javidan is because they are essentially the Secret Service that is tasked with protecting Iran against the Islamic regime and against the Islamic occupation. So whenever you hear the word Immortal Guard or Garde Javidan, especially if you're American, literally this basically means like U.S. Secret Service, but of course the Iranian version. Okay, so the Iranian version. So His Royal Highness through his comms team is saying that the Immortal Guard, the Garde Javidan, are preparing for the next wave of national action. And this is really interesting because I spoke about this earlier today on my interview with Chanel Rion. So, and I said that Iranians are getting ready. It's not over. Like, we're literally getting armed. We're literally getting ready. And who knows when the call to action will be. But what I can tell you is that it is coming. So, and the fact that His Royal Highness, through his comms account, is now confirming this, guys, hashtag Goldie is always right. There you go. So he continues, in Noshad and Chalus, these are two cities, they are making and distributing Iran's Lion and Sun flag. Guys, the Lion and Sun flag, that's this one right here, right? The Lion and Sun flag right there. So Iranians are making and distributing Iran's Lion and Sun flag, a national symbol the Islamic Republic has tried and failed to erase. And guys, this is why I have the Lion and Sun flag above my head. And this is why I also proudly wear my Lion and Sun flag. Why? Because the Muslim Nazis have been trying to erase our flag and replace it with their garbage Allahu Akbar Jihad Durka terrorist flag. And of course, we refused. So there you go, guys. Whenever you see this, that's because I'm wearing my Lion and Sun flag because I absolutely love my flag. There we go. Anyways, so his account continues. So in Noshad and Chalus, they are making and distributing Iran's Lion and Sun flag, a national symbol the Islamic Republic has tried and failed to erase. Their message is clear. We hope our beloved Prince Reza Pahlavi will return to Iran. Long live Iran, long live the Shah. Beyond the headlines and behind the regime's propaganda, the Iranian people have not abandoned their struggle. This is what I'm talking about. They are organizing, rebuilding their networks, and preparing to rise again. So, guys, let me get a hashtag Goldie is always right, because this is exactly what I was saying on American media networks earlier today. So let's watch this. So this person says we are all ready for the prince's final call. And you know what I love about this flag here? This is a homemade flag, right? So this here, because obviously Iranians aren't allowed to, openly sell or distribute Lion and Sun flags in occupied Iran. And of course, because Iran is a totalitarian dictatorship, there's no such thing as Amazon or anything like that. So every single Lion and Sun flag that you see inside of occupied Iran, that's a homemade flag, right? These are flags that are made behind closed doors. And this flag here is 1,000,000 times more valuable than my flag, because my flag, I was able to get this while living in a free country, Canada. But these homemade flags inside of occupied Iran, they're priceless. They're absolutely priceless. And they are absolutely beautiful, right? And the beauty comes not only from the flag itself, because of course the lion and sun is beautiful, but the beauty comes from the fact that these are flags that are made behind the scenes with love, with patriotism, with devotion, with the hope and aspiration of freedom, right? That's what makes this flag beautiful and priceless. I mean, this flag right here, this belongs in a museum. And I'm not exaggerating. And then they say, thanks to the Immortal Guard for delivering national flags to us. And this is another person. They're saying, I received the glorious lion and sun flag. Wow. My gratitude to brigade. Wow. Oh, guys. Okay. So the Immortal Guard are even more organized than I first thought. Look at this. My gratitude to Brigade 72 of the Immortal Guard in Chalus and Noshad. Wow.
72 گارد جاویدان چالوس و نوشهر تشکر میکنم. منتظر فراخوان بعدی است.
I'm awaiting the next call.
درود فراوان به گارد جاویدان چالوس نوشهر تیپ 72. ممنونم از شما بابت ارسال پرچم. به امید آزادی. جاوید شاه. جاوید شاه پاینده ایران.
Guys, for everyone in the chat, Iranians, you can't answer this question. What does Javid Shah mean? All these Iranians inside of occupied Iran, they're sharing this beautiful lion and sun flag, and they're saying Javid Shah. What does Javid Shah mean? Let's see who gets it first. Oh, there we go. Guys, all right. Okay, so Laszlo got it. Bro Falangista got it. Nathaniel got it. Just chillin'. Dominic, Boxlit. Yep, 1983. JB, TBNNC, Dr. Cobra, Daniel. Yes, Miss MTC, you got it as well. Eli got it. Matt Blah got it. Tommy Karate got it. Andrew Fenn, Fatal Demon, Visitor Clockin. Yes, salty pasta. You know what, salty pasta? I'll take that. I will take that interpretation. Hail to the king, baby. I love that. I'll take that. Larry Kim, Sutcliffe got it. Charlie Duke got it. Quills got it. Matt Blah. Yeah, you got that as well. Mario, I was hanging up a wash bottle at work. I had no chance. You know what, Mario? It's okay. Mario, you get bonus points because I know some of you are at work, but you know what? Cheers to you, durud to you for listening in and tuning in while you're at work. Don't worry. You are part of the crew that got it. There you go. Lisa, you're 1 minute behind. Long live the king. Okay, so guys, let's get to the honorable mentions. So Lisa got it. Charlie Duke, honorable mention. Dominic, they said king. Yeah, well, they said Shah. So Javid Shah. And, you know, guys, here's the thing. So here's the thing about the word Shah, okay? Shah is Iranian. Okay, so the word Shah is a pure Iranian word. There is no other country in the world, no other civilization or culture or anything that calls their head of state the Shah. That is a pure Iranian thing. And that is a word that we Iranians, we protect and we claim, because anyone can be a king. Anyone can be a sultan. Anyone can be whatever. But there is only one Shah. And whenever someone speaks about the Shah, everyone knows that they're speaking about the Shah of Iran. So we Iranians, we love the word Shah. In fact, like I said, the word Shah is so ingrained into Iranian culture and heritage and civilization. Remember, 1001 Nights, right? So the Arabs like to claim that it's called 1001 Arabian Nights, but it's not actually 1001 Arabian Nights. It's 1001 Iranian Nights. And you guys have heard of Scheherazade, right? So in English, right, the Arabs, they call it Scheherazade. Yeah, the actual name is Shahzad. Shahzad. And let me spell that for you guys, right? So Shahzad, wait, I was going to pull this up, but that's fine. I have something else. Actually, I have something else I want to share with you. Shahzad. Okay, so this is how Scheherazade is actually pronounced. It's pronounced Shahzad. Now, guys, what does the word Shah mean again? So, guys, you already know what Shah means. So, Shahzad means the daughter of a Shah, okay? So, Shahzad basically means an Iranian princess, okay? Iranian princess. So, whenever you hear the word Scheherazade, right, it's not actually Scheherazade. It's Shahzad, which means Iranian princess, because Shahzad means the daughter of a king. Okay. Now, oh wait, someone asked about this, guys. Oh, this is a very, very good question. Composer 45 says, what about Shahanshah? Very good question. So Shahanshah means king of kings, okay? Or the Shah of Shahs. Now, why do we call the Shah of Iran the king of kings? That's because in Iranian culture and, Iranian civilization, everyone is equal. So we see everyone, man, woman, child, whatever, we're all equal. So we're all shahs in our own way. And then the head of state, the shah, he's the Shahanshah. So he is the king of kings. So what this essentially refers to is the fact that, 2,500 years ago, when Cyrus the Great founded the Iranian Empire, which is also known as the Persian civilization, he essentially invented the concept of human rights and religious equality and, the equality of men and women, right? So the reason that we call the Shah of Iran the king of kings is because within Iranian culture and civilization, the fundamental concept of human rights and freedom of religion and equality between men and women have always existed. And so for this reason, all Iranians are pretty much like a king, because we live like kings, not because, we're super rich or whatever, but because we live like kings, because we all have the same rights and freedoms as the king himself. So the Shahanshah means basically the king of kings, or, you know, of course, the emperor. So when we refer to, you know, the late Shah of Iran as Shahanshah Aryamer, what that basically means is the king of kings and the light of the Aryans. And Aryans, of course, that's who we are. Of course, Hitler and the Nazis, they actually stole the Aryan term from us, and they imposed it on themselves, just like how they kind of took the oh my gosh, the symbol that they then appropriated and turned it into like the Nazi symbol. But that's actually originally like a Hindu Buddhist symbol. So yeah, kind of a similar thing. So the whole concept of, like, you know, the Aryans and the Aryan nation, that's not a German thing. That's not like a Nazi Hitler thing. That's an Iranian thing. For some reason, Adolf Hitler, I don't know, decided to appropriate that term and steal it from us. But yeah, like the guys, the word Iran actually comes from Arya as well. So all of these things are connected. But yes, so Shahanshah means the king of kings, and that is essentially a reference to how within the Persian civilization and, you know, the Persian Empire, Iranians were all equal, and you know, we all had the same rights and freedoms as the Shah himself. So there you go. And again, remember, the Cyrus cylinder is essentially what initiated the whole foundation of the concept of human rights and freedom of religion. And it was only when the Arab Muslims occupied Iran 1400 years ago, and they brought their, you know, Islamic jihad and you know, foreign Arab ideology, that you know, Iran turned into what it is today. And then of course we have the whole 1979 Islamic coup d'etat. But yeah, there you go, guys. So this is what this is what's really important about this video here, right? Because the reason that we want our Shah back is because the whole institution of monarchy, it's part of our identity as Iranians. And a lot of people won't say this, especially the Durkas and the communists, but never forget, Iran became a constitutional monarchy in 1906. So while all of these Durka Middle Eastern countries, right? So I'm talking about, you know, Oman and, I don't know, Bahrain and Qatar and the UAE and Saudi Arabia and Jordan and like all these Durka countries that claim to be allies of the United States, okay? They are hardcore monarchies, right? So there is literally no democracy. There's no democracy in these countries whatsoever. Iran became a constitutional monarchy in 1906, okay? So in 1906, we had our first democratically elected parliament. We still had our Shah at the time, okay? So Iran has been a constitutional monarchy since 1906, and yet for some reason, when we Iranians today, we say that we want to go back to being a constitutional monarchy, we're accused of being a dictatorship. We're accused of being anti-democracy. Meanwhile, when you look at, you know, some of the best, you know, top functioning countries in the world, they're constitutional monarchies. Look at Sweden. Look at the UK. Well, I mean, UK not anymore because UK's turned into a, you know, a hellhole. But look at Sweden, or I don't know, Norway, or I don't know, all these other countries, right? They're constitutional monarchies, but they still have a democracy. That's what Iran was. Iran became a constitutional monarchy in 1906. the Arab Muslim Durkas took that away from us. And now that we're trying to restore our constitutional monarchy, they accuse us of being dictators. Meanwhile, they are literally the dictators, but this is how they've been gaslighting the world. And then what's even more insane is that, you know, these Arab countries like Oman, for example, by the way, guys, I need to end Iran Revolution Live because I have a lot to say about what's happening geopolitically. But you know what? When I was asked today about, President Trump said they're going to bomb Oman, I was like, good, because anyone who supports the Islamic regime, actions have consequences. And let me tell you something about Oman. The Shah of Iran, back when he was still around, when the communists and the Durkas were trying to take over Oman and turn Oman into a communist, proxy state of the USSR, the Shah of Iran, he went and he saved the Omani royal family. And I say royal family because Oman is a fake country, right? Like none of these countries existed, 100 years ago, or I don't know, 150 years ago. They're all fake countries. So the Shah of Iran went and he saved the Omani royal family. And the only reason that Oman today is not a communist Durka hellhole is because of the Shah of Iran. And how do the Omani royal family thank the Shah of Iran? They don't. They take sides with the Arab Durkas. So the Oman royal family, even though they know the only reason that they're still in power today is because of the late Shah of Iran, because he rescued them. And guys, he didn't have to. He didn't have to do that. He did that because he was a good person. He did that because, you help your neighbors, you help your allies, you help your friends. How did the Arab Muslims thank him for that? They thanked him for that by supporting and backing the Islamic regime. They thanked him for that by, to this day, they support the Islamic regime. So when President Trump said that he's, if Oman supports the Islamic regime, he's going to bomb them, good. I'm glad. Because they're all a bunch of traitors. And this is what you get when you show mercy or sympathy to the Durkas. Because at the end of the day, if you're not Muslim, you're not human. At the end of the day, if you are not part of their cult, if you're not part of their ideology, if you're not part of their cult, if you don't worship their demon god, they view you as an infidel and they will murder you the first chance they get. Remember that. Keep that in mind. And I'll speak more about this on the Goldie show, which I'm going to live stream later, but I just want to finish this video and then I'll get to your questions and comments, and then I'll take a quick break, and then I will come back. I do have to make a few phone calls about my upcoming trip, but there you go. I'll be back, guys.
امیدوارم زنده بمونم و بتونم برافراشته شدن این پرچم رو تو کشور خودم ببینم و همه زیر سایه این پرچم به آزادی برسیم.
پرچم ملیمون رسیده دستمون، منتظر فراخوان بعدی هستیم. آینده ایران، جاوید شاه.
ممنونم از شما بابت ارسال پرچم. به امید آزادی، جاوید شاه.
آماده میکنیم که شاهزاده عزیزمون به ایران برگرده. جاوید شاه، آینده ایران. همه بچه‌های گارد جاویدان، علم خصوصی 72 لعنت به این رژیم، لعنت بر جمهوری آخوندی. درود فراوان به گارد جاویدان 72 9 چالوس. سپاس فراوان بابت فرستادن پرچم شیر خورشید. منتظر صحبت‌های شاهزاده هستیم. این دفعه با پرچم بریم تو خیابونا.
There you go. All right, guys, let me get to your questions and comments, and then I will be back in a little bit. I promise you guys. So, guys, I have so much more to talk about. This rant is just getting started. So John Diamond says, I remember the videos of the boys being sent into the minefield. So John is referring to the Iranian child soldiers during the Iran-Iraq War. Yeah. The videos were from independent journalists. They were graphic. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we Iranians, we've seen a lot of those graphic videos. Push Up says, BBC did a big documentary last year, The Untold Story of the Iran-Iraq War's Frontline Children. I haven't seen that. I mean, I would take it with a grain of salt. I don't trust the BBC. The BBC has actually asked me to do interviews with them several times, and I've rejected it every single time. Remember, guys, the BBC actually in the 1970s, they were promoting and supporting the Ayatollah. So one of the reasons that the Islamic regime was successful in overtaking Iran in 1979 is not just from Jimmy Carter and the Democrats, not just from the UK and France, but also the mainstream media, the fake stream leftist media that was supporting this brutal Islamic dictatorship. And yeah, the BBC has blood on its hands. We Iranians, we call the BBC Ayatollah BBC, because BBC is essentially a mouthpiece for the Islamic regime. So I haven't seen that documentary, Push-Ups. I mean, anyone who wants to watch it, go ahead, but take it with a grain of salt, and don't trust the BBC. Don't trust the BBC. And you know, shame on the UK government for using UK patriot taxpayer dollars to fund their, you know, jihadi communist propaganda. And yeah, I mean, this is why Tommy Robinson is fighting to, you know, he's fighting for the UK, and he has every right to, right? I mean, Tommy Robinson's fight, you know, as a UK patriot, is the exact same fight that we Iranians have to free Iran, right? This is what I mean when I say we're all patriots. We're all patriots. We're all fighting for our countries. We're fighting for our country's identity. And, you know, if you don't fight to protect your flag, what's going to end up happening is that when the communists and the Durkas take over, right, they're going to erase your flag. They're going to ban your flag. They will literally ban your flag. And this is why Iranians right now, right, guys, take this as a warning sign. This is what happens when communists and Islamists take over your country. They ban your flag, and then what you have to do is that you have to make secret underground flags, which is considered contraband, right? So now so when the communists and the Muslims take over, they ban your identity, they ban your flag, and then you basically have to make secret videos showing homemade flags, because you know that if you show this flag in public, you will be murdered by the Muslims and the Nazis. So yeah, this is why I support Tommy Robinson, because we Iranians, we know what happens when you're placid and you sit back and you don't do anything and you think, oh, no, this would never happen. The Muslims are never going to take over. Yeah, this is what happens when they take over. They ban your flag, and then they murder you for the crime of raising your flag or sharing your flag. Yeah, so yeah, God bless Tommy Robinson, and God bless all the patriots all around the world, from every single country. If you are a patriot of your own country and you're trying to protect your flag, protect your identity, protect your culture, I salute you. I salute you. Because we Iranians, we made the mistake of allowing this garbage ideology to take over our country 47 years ago, and we have been paying the price with blood ever since, for 47 years. So do not ever let anyone tell you that you are xenophobic or, you know, whatever, or racist or fascist or whatever. Do not allow them to label you with that, because they are the ones who are fascist. They are the ones who are xenophobic. They are the ones who are the terrorists, right? Because once they get into control and once they get into power, they are the ones who will murder you for the crime of wanting to raise your flag. So this is why Iranians in occupied Iran are literally making secret videos showing their lion and sun flag, because the communists and the Muslims took over. So take it as a warning sign. Learn from our mistake, at least. And we've been paying for the price ever since in blood. Right? We've been paying the price ever since in blood. Right here. One example. All right, let me continue. Thunderbird says, a lot of the regime are imported Arab Sayyids, yes, and Afghans, etc., who were gifted expropriated homes and assets from Baha'i Iranians and many other victims of the 1979 Durga Kami coup. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, Baha'is are even more persecuted than Iranian Jews and Iranian Christians, because, Iranian, like the Jewish faith and the Christian faith existed before Islam was invented, right? So the Muslims can't claim that, Judaism or Christianity are fake religions, even though they actually do, but that's besides the point. But Iranian Baha'is literally have no rights inside of occupied Iran. Like, the situation is even worse for Baha'is than it is for Jews or Christians or anyone else, because the Muslims under Sharia law, they view Baha'is as infidels, and they basically say that murdering Baha'is is celebrated by Allah, right? So this is why ever since 1979, Iranian Baha'is, they have no rights. They're not allowed to go to school. Their property is confiscated. Their assets are confiscated. They're basically treated as persona non grata, and they're murdered. They're murdered because the Muslims, they view Baha'is as, they don't even view them as human. They don't see them as humans, so they see them as pests. And this is why Iranian Baha'is are heavily persecuted, and it is absolutely horrific. And yes, many of these non-Iranian Durkas have taken over homes and residences that used to belong to Baha'is. But guys, this is how population replacement works, right? This is what I mean when I say that the Islamic regime is a foreign invading occupation. They murder Baha'is. And the Baha'i faith is, guys, the Baha'i faith is, how do I say this? The Baha'i faith is one of the most peaceful, non-violent faiths in the world. And I'm not exaggerating, right? So the Baha'i faith, they literally believe that God appears to people in different ways, and that all religions are equal, and that all religions lead to God, whether that religion is a monotheistic religion or, like a pluralistic religion. It doesn't matter. They're like, all religions lead back to God. And the Baha'i faith is all about peace and love and acceptance, and just, being a good person for the sake of being a good person. And, when I was in Israel, I actually had the opportunity to visit the Baha'i gardens in Haifa. And I still haven't really spoken about that. And one of the reasons I haven't spoken about the Baha'i garden in Haifa or shared my videos or photos is because when we went to visit the Baha'i gardens in Haifa, our tour guide, she basically said that the Islamic regime monitors anyone who shares information about the Baha'i faith. And anytime someone shares information about the Baha'i faith, if they're an influential person, the Islamic regime, they will murder Baha'is in Iran as, punishment for, propaganda. So, and they basically said, before you share any videos or photos or anything, please just run it by us so that we can just make sure that this won't put any of our followers inside of occupied Iran at risk. But of course, as we all know, whether or not anyone shares images or videos, the Islamic regime murders Iranians every single day, regardless of faith or religion. That includes our amazing Baha'i people. Miss MTC says Muslims cannot create, they can only plagiarize. That's 100% correct. There's actually nothing that Islam has invented except for pedophilia, right? Like they worship a pedophile. I'll give that to them. But other than that, there's actually literally nothing that they have invented. And keep in mind, when the Muslim Nazis invaded Iran 1400 years ago, one of the first things they did is they burned our libraries. They burned our great libraries, and it actually took them 6 months of 6 months of continuous book burning to burn all the books in the Persian civilization libraries. So yeah, but then, that's the thing, like they spent 6 months burning our books, but then they have the audacity to claim that it's like the Islamic golden age. Right, guys? And here's the other question for you. So, okay, so if the Islamic golden age was so amazing, why is it that Afghanistan is a literal hellhole? Right? Why is it that, occupied Iran is a literal Islamic hellhole, right? Think about that. So the Islamic golden age didn't happen because of Islam. The Islamic golden age happened despite of Islam. That's why it should actually be called the Iranian golden age, because it was the Iranians who were doing all the inventions, and then, they were all pretending to be fake Muslims so that like the Durkas would leave them alone, right? So whenever the Durkas showed up, they would just be like, oh, whatever, just to like get the Durkas off their back. But then it was the Iranians who were doing all of the inventions and, the math and the science and the literature and all of that, right? Like literally, they can't claim anything for themselves. The only thing that they can claim is essentially the fact that they worship a 55-year-old man who married a 6-year-old girl and raped her when she was 9, right? Like, yeah, Islam can claim that, like, that's all yours, right? Or I don't know, maybe the fact that, they worship someone who apparently rode a donkey with the face of a woman to the moon and then, to Jerusalem. And so the only reason that, the Muslims claim that, the Muslims say that they have some sort of claim over Jerusalem is because their pedophile warlord that they worshipped had some weird dream about, flying a winged donkey with the face of a woman to Jerusalem. So because their weird pedophile warlord had a dream about, flying to Jerusalem on a winged donkey, all of a sudden, this is why they claim that, Jerusalem belongs to them, right? So I don't know, man. Not my circus, not my monkeys. I don't understand it. I can't explain it. But, this is what we've been dealing with for not just the last 47 years, but the last 1400 years, essentially. Meyer says, think about the treatment they'll get by the regime. Yeah, I mean, anyone who's not part of the Islamic regime, they get treated absolutely horribly. That includes, Iranian Jews, Iranian Baha'is, Iranian Christians, everyone. It's an Islamic hellhole, right? I mean, like, I don't know. Welcome to Sharia law. Welcome to Islam, right? So, warning to all of you guys. Anyone who, whenever you hear about people in your countries and they're like, we want Sharia law, right? Like, yeah, that's a red flag. Don't allow that in your countries. Minor Dine says, a little to encourage the return of your world famous Bacon wrapped scallop recipe. Oh my gosh, guys, my bacon wrapped scallop recipe. It's not actually a thing. I already explained my bacon wrapped scallop recipe is essentially just this. I mean, I can share it with you if you want, but I just buy President's Choice bacon wrapped wild sea scallops, and then I just cook that. So this is my world famous bacon wrapped wild sea scallops recipe. You buy it, you put it in the oven, you cook it, and then you eat it. I mean, it's really good, by the way. It's really good. But you know, I do have to say, when I went to my trip in the east coast of Canada, I had a lot of seafood and I had a lot of scallops. I didn't necessarily have bacon wrapped scallops, but I had a lot of scallops. It was really good. So anyways, guys, there you go. So this is what we Iranians have been fighting for the last 47 years. You know, there was some good news, there was some bad news, there was, you know, uplifting news, and of course, serious news. But, you know, at the end of the day, I just want to play this video again because, you know, this is what I mean when I say that regardless of how bad things get, there is an ocean of blood. Guys, there is an ocean of blood between us and the terrorist Islamic regime. Okay, my browser lost audio connection, so I have to reshare my browser. Sorry, guys. Here we go. So there is an ocean of blood between us Iranians and the Islamic regime. And so anyone who tells you that Iranians have given up or the revolution isn't happening, it's a lie. It's a lie. We have never been more determined to end the Islamic regime. And with every passing day, we get more and more resolute and we become even more and more prepared. So I'm going to share this video again because this pretty much tells you everything you need to know about Iranians and how resolute we are in terms of overthrowing this Islamic dictatorship. Because keep in mind, the Iranian identity, civilization, culture, even our lion and sun flag has existed for thousands of years before Islam was invented. And our Iranian identity, culture, heritage, language, and flag will exist for thousands of years after we eradicate Islam from our country, like the cancer that it is. I'm Israel Chai. God bless America. Javid Shah and Payanda Iran. I will see all of you guys very soon, probably in about an hour or so, for the evening edition of The Goldie Show. See you guys very, very soon.
ما همه آماده فراخوان نهایی شاهزاده هستیم. ممنون از عزیزان گارد جاویدان که این پرچم‌های زیبا رو به دست ما رسوندن.
پرچم پرصلابت شیر و خورشید به دستم رسید. از تیپ 72 گارد جاویدان چالوس و نوشهر تشکر میکنم. منتظر فراخوان بعدی هستم.
درود فراوان به گارد جاویدان چالوس نوشهر تیپ 72. ممنونم از شما بابت ارسال پرچم. به امید آزادی. جاوید شاه.
جاوید شاه، پاینده ایران. امیدوارم زنده بمونم و بتونم برافراشته شدن این پرچم رو تو کشور خودم ببینم و همه زیر سایه این پرچم به آزادی برسیم.
پرچم ملیمون رسیده دستمون. منتظر فراخوان بعدی هستیم. پاینده ایران، جاوید شاه.
ممنونم از شما بابت ارسال پرچم. به امید آزادی. جاوید شاه.
آماده میشیم که شاهزاده عزیزمون به ایران برگرده. جاوید شاه، پاینده ایران. همه بچه های گارد جاویدان، لعنت خصوصی په 72 لعنت به این رژیم، لعنت بر جمهوری آخوندی.
درود فراوان به گارد جاویدان 72 نوشهر جالوس. سپاس فراوان بابت فرستادن پرچم شیر خورشید. منتظر صحبت‌های شاهزاده هستیم. این دفعه با پرچم بریم تو خیابونا.
غرق انقلاب است. کشور ما، تاریخ ما تفسیر گر فرا گرفته، گویی اهورا مستا دوباره در نور خود مرا گرفته. اکنون سرودی سر میدهم باز فارغ از رنج و تشویش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. هن ای پدر، هن ای پسر، برخیز و با ما شو همگام، تا درد آن تجربه تلخ ما را نکشیده در آب. بگذار هر دم بغرند گرگ‌ها دم لباس میش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ای کارگر، ای برزگر، راحت کنون ادامه دارد در این زمان که پرتو یزدان از هر سو بر تو میبارد. پس پیش به سوی آزادی از بحر خزر تا کیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. خلقا به پا بهر دفاع از استقلال و آزادی، تا بشکنیم پشت ارتجاع تیریزی ویران آبادی. تا زنده سازیم سنت‌های می از من آیین و کیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. با امید روزی که تمام این دلبشو و انقلاب تموم بشه و ما در روشنایی، نور و سعادت مردم کشورمون غرق بشیم. نه خارجی، نه بیگانه، نه مستشارهای ویرانی، نه چیر خاران، نه کاسه لیسان، فقط هم رزمان ایرانی. ما با شرافت میهنی بسازیم بهر فرزندان خویش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. مردان بیایید داخل صف ما، اکنون که آغاز رویاست. دشمنان بدانید ما زنده هستیم، بعد از ما هم ایران پابرجاست. آن روح شیطان ما را فریب داد با صد شعار مردمیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. پرچم ما، پرچم ایران غرق خون شهیدان، روی شانه هامان حمل میکنیمش در هر خیابان و میدان تا ماسک دلقکان را برداریم از روی تسبیح و ریگ